My name is Liz Partsch.
And hello, my name is Paul Rowley,
Yes, and welcome to Farm and Dairy's Weekly Rundown.
where we will be giving you. Do you guys remember Delilah? Delilah. Wish we could open like that. We
Yeah.
will be giving you a rundown of the week's top stories in the Farm and Dairy newspaper.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
yeah.
I'm very tired. I think this day is catching up with me.
Yeah, same here. But it's a great day. There's lots of
It is a
things
great
that
day.
have happened on April 20th. We were discussing in
Yes,
the
right.
office.
Yes, that's very.
So,
Yeah.
however you choose to celebrate, whatever you're celebrating today,
Mhm.
well, I guess the day that this is filmed,
Yeah.
not when this would be coming out.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah, it's spring, guys. So celebrate with seeing grass and
Yes.
all the different
Yes.
grasses.
It's been a bit more chilly than I would prefer in our corner of the world.
I agree. I don't like the whiplash.
I don't either. It
of-
has been a little confusing. We've been from 70 to 40 or something
Yeah.
as our average temperature.
Well, for me too, and I know this is maybe something in my family. I'm sure a lot of people experience this too, but like I get headaches a lot this time of year
Yeah.
because of just like the whiplash of the temperatures.
Right.
Like every day for the last 2 weeks, I've woken up with my head like pounding.
yeah.
Very annoying.
What
I
is
don't like it.
yes, yeah. I'm wondering if that has something to do with like pressure. There's a fancy word to describe atmospheric pressures, and I cannot I can't reach
Yeah.
this word. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I think
but-
you're right. It has to do with like the atmospheric pressure. I want to
Perhaps.
look into it though,
That's only
because
a
I'm
theory.
curious that like a lot of people, specifically my mom's side of the family, who are prone to migraines or kind of get the same way every
Yeah.
time around this, around this time of year. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to look into it. But anyways, getting to the news,
Yeah.
our top stories, which is why you guys are watching this.
naturally.
Paul, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I guess I could. Well, what have I got for you guys? All right. State and local officials gathered last week in Western Pennsylvania to cut the ribbon on a new animal diagnostic laboratory. Very exciting. Yeah. And editor Rachel Wagner was there to cover this event. So I'm just going to set the stage actually about how big of a deal that this facility now existing in the world is. How it's really a game changer for farmers across Western Pennsylvania, which is like very cool to have testing capabilities and to also be able to not worry anymore about shipping samples or having to drive them like ungodly distances hours away while worrying about like the quality of the specimens that they're transporting, like on the way there, if they're degrading in like your car or something. So this is like a very, very big deal for a lot of folks. The Keystone Animal Diagnostics Laboratory. This is at Penn State Beaver, which is a fun name for anything. It was 20 years in the making, which apparently is not an exaggeration because that is how long state agricultural officials and lawmakers have been discussing the need for an animal diagnostics lab on the western side of the state. So there we go. So thanks to a $6 million investment from the 2024 and 2025 state budget, the lab was finally able to be brought into fruition and to become a reality. Yay. Ag Secretary Russell Redding said that this is a historic moment for Pennsylvania agriculture. Before the Keystone Lab opened, the closest state lab to farmers in Western Pennsylvania was in Center County at Penn State University's main campus. That is over 3 hours away for farmers along the western border of the state, which is much too long. And it's not much too long to travel that far. In some cases, it was actually quicker and easier to send samples that needed to be tested to Ohio State University's lab in Columbus, Ohio. Okay. Yeah. This new lab is the first to join the Pennsylvania Animal Diagnostic Laboratory System since the state established that partnership in 1991 to more effectively protect human and animal health across the state and region. And it joins the system's 3 other labs. That includes the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture's lab in Harrisburg, Penn State College of Agricultural Sciences lab in Center County, and the new Bolton Center at the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine in Chester County, which is apparently located close to Philly. The first stage of the Keystone Ag Diagnostic Lab, or the first phase, I guess, includes serology, parasitology, and molecular testing services. So very, very handy to have those much more accessible now. The Keystone Animal Diagnostics Center is already accepting some biological specimen samples from farmers, although it is not able to yet do any testing or analysis on site until it is validated and certified through the National Animal Health Testing Laboratory Network. All right. The second phase of this lab will include a necropsy facility at a separate freestanding building down the hill from the current lab. So very good news. Happy for the people of Western Pennsylvania. Over to you, Liz.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yes.
Speaking of Philly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Penguins. Screw Philadelphia.
There we go.
Flyers, you nasty little hockey people.
You heard it here first.
I don't know. That I could have done worse insults, but we're keeping it PG.
Yeah,
so, anyways,
this is a family
go Pittsburgh
show.
Penguins. Yeah, it's a family show.
Yeah.
So go Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not rooting for the Flyers. The Penguins are in the playoffs. That's hockey. So, cool. Anyways, just wanted to take a little side note that you mentioned Philly. Just rang through my head.
Yeah.
So, guys, this week, contributing writer Jake Zukowski wrote about the hidden costs of Ohio's solar farms.
Ooh.
Yes. So, for many farmers, solar is seen as a cost-saving investment as farms generate their own power, offset grid use, and send excess energy back on the local utility grid. So, for many farmers, it is really just seen as free power because they're, if anything, benefiting getting some money back. Right? But in Ohio, rising energy costs via distribution and transmission fees charged by utilities are making these solar investments less beneficial. So, for clarification's sake, Ohio electric bills are split into three costs. That's generation, the cost of producing the energy, and transmission and distribution of the energy, which is the cost of transporting that electricity and delivering it to homes.
Okay.
So how this is impacting producers of solar farms, well, obviously, they're saving by not having to pay for this generation since they're generating it themselves. But under Ohio rules, solar customers using net metering have to pay fixed transmission and distribution charges that apply whether electricity flows to or from their property or not. So for a solar producer, they might not be, they're not receiving really because they have their own electricity on the farm. That shouldn't apply to them, right?
Yeah.
So Zukowski talks to one producer in particular, Doug Goying, a grain farmer in Paulding, Ohio, who could be credited 5 cents for each kilowatt of base generation he produces, but then charged a fee of 12 cents for distribution and transmissions fees, even during months when he doesn't generate anything.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it doesn't really not a great investment.
Yeah.
And this situation may only get worse with the new rule proposed that AEP Ohio wants to reduce compensation for solar producers like Goying who are giving their excess energy back to the grid. So to read more about this, this was a great, well-written story, very detail-oriented. I did not do it justice, to be honest. That's just a little snippet of a lot of the problems going on in solar. Something that is pretty good investment, but farmers aren't really being told this, some of the impacts in Ohio of this investment. So anyways, to read more about all of this in great detail, you can visit the front of the paper this week, or you can go online at farmerdiary.com.
All right. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people, oh my goodness, solar is a very controversial topic with a lot of people.
It is.
Across these parts.
It's like the cheapest energy. And even in the story, Jake says that a lot of farmers are still benefiting from this because it is the cheapest energy. And for farmers that are using a lot of energy, this is a great, this is a great energy to invest in.
Yeah.
But now the regulatory environment has gotten more complicated, which we're going to get into later in this podcast. That, is making it more difficult for farmers to capitalize on this beneficial investment.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just stay tuned with that. I have a little story, and it is quite dour. It's a big bummer. Wow. American farmers heading into spring planting this season. What do they have to look forward to? Well, I guess they don't expect to see much light at the end of the tunnel. Fertilizer costs have spiked. Fuel is obviously quite expensive right now. Due to reasons I'm going to get into a little bit. And then years of low commodity prices are continuing to squeeze producers, something like a boa constrictor. During a media briefing that I attended that was hosted on April 14th on Zoom by the American Farm Bureau Federation, farm leaders and economists discussed a sector grappling with what the Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall called, quote, generational headwinds. So I certainly caught note of that. According to AFBF economist Faith Parham, the majority of America's farmers that they surveyed, who responded to the organization's survey, this is about 5,700 people, which is quite a number, say that they cannot afford to purchase enough fertilizer to get them through the year, underscoring just how grim the outlook is right now in a lot of ways. And she said, we know that there have been several consecutive years of losses, and our analysis shows that farmers do not think that it is going to get better this year. Yikes. We need to, don't we have a?
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, good. First try.
Whoa,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
But
I
anyway.
was like thinking about clicking that button, but I was like, I don't want to click on every single
Right,
button
and trying to
again.
find it.
We really need to label it.
We should probably do that. Yeah. The survey drew responses. These are farmers from really all walks of life, and the farms themselves varied in size, and they cover the entire country, every state, including Puerto Rico. According to Parham, about 60% of farmers predicted that their finances will be worse than the previous year. Ouch. And 36% expected conditions to hold steady. Only 6% foresaw any financial improvement over the previous year. Yeesh. She also said that high input costs exacerbated by the conflict in Iran have driven sharp increases in the price of, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, anhydrous ammonia. Maybe I didn't pronounce that wrong. Urea, liquid nitrogen, and diesel, with urea and farm diesel seeing the largest month-to-month jumps. Yikes. The survey found that 70% of farmers nationwide cannot afford all of the fertilizer they need this year, a figure that jumps actually to 78%, specifically in the South, where pre-booking rates were lowest. Even in the Midwest, about half of farmers do not believe that they will be able to purchase their full fertilizer needs this year. Yikes. Yeah, not great. And she said this will reduce yields. Some may reduce fertilizer applications or just not plant acres because of the price of fertilizer and the downturn that we have seen in the farm economy over the last 4 years. Yeesh. There's a lot more in the article. There you hear from a couple of different farmers from different spots across the nation, and there's some more forecasting and some attempts to perhaps from Farm Bureau folks to find solutions to offer some relief to some farmers who are really hurting right now. But that is the long and the short of it, I guess. So to read more of that, it's somewhere in the paper. I'm not really sure where. It's somewhere. So just dig around the paper and find it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Well, important story to read, important to be caught up on some of this global stuff that's impacting a lot of people.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
Well, Paul, like I said, we're not done talking about solar just yet.
Oh.
Yeah, because in the Rural Marketplace section of the paper this week, we have an AP story that discusses the downfall of the REAP program and the cost it has on many farmers.
Yeah.
So you may know that because you were reporting on that, I think,
I was doing
last year a little when that was starting to happen. So anyways, known as the Rural Energy for America program, the USD program has changed significantly since the Trump administration took office and rolled back grants to align with the administration's goals. Just for people that know, the REAP is used to finance a lot of solar farms to help farmers be able to implement that technology on their farm. So since 2005, clean energy projects, including the solar industry, have received tax credits. But these tax credits were reset in January by the Trump, were kind of recalled, by the Trump administration, or rolled back, as you say, in July. And now solar projects must be under construction by July 2026 or placed in service by the end of 2027 to be eligible for the credits. And this has prompted many developers to abandon projects altogether, or they're now just preparing to invest in these projects alone, or already are just losing a lot on investments that they've made.
Dang.
For many farmers, this has been a headache, including Eliza Lane, a flower and fruit farmer in Maryland, who was awarded a REAP grant for over $30,000 to install solar panels on her farm.
Wow.
And that was frozen by the administration when this initially came out, I think last year. Fortunately, she's now set to receive the full amount, but for a few months, as you could imagine, it was very stressful. She already kind of invested in a lot in this project, and it, for a moment of time, looked like it may not work out for her at all, and she might be in debt, right? Or something like that. So, and so far the USDA has not reopened REAP grants. People like Robert Bonney, who was the undersecretary for the Farm Production and Conservation under the USDA's Biden administration. It says that this really will be felt throughout rural communities across the country who really just need investment, including farmers that are supplying additional power and lowering electric bills. Something that would probably seem pretty prevalent right now as we see all these stories in the news, even written by us here at Farm and Dairy, about constantly rising electricity costs. We need more power. We need more energy. Question is, why isn't solar being eyed up for this energy? If we need so much energy, why aren't we utilizing all of the energy that we can produce in the United States?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to digress on that point. But that story includes a lot more detail about how it's impacting rural communities and includes more farmers that are in the story. So to read more about this and the REAP program, you can visit the rural section of our paper or go online this week.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, and I just have to say too, like I haven't reported on this in a little while, but I think I did talk to some people that I think it was the REAP program. There's a few programs that were a couple of months ago that were like thrown into turmoil. More than a couple months ago. I don't know. I don't remember when any.
But time is a construct.
Yeah, time is yeah, exactly. But it really is like a huge like businesses that will be relying on projects like that they have partially or fully received grant money to help supplement, and then just like in the middle of the work, like the rug is pulled out, and you're like, oh, like, and then it's like, well, what happens next? So it is definitely very disruptive, and it's still going on for a couple of different things, and I think I've heard recently from some folks. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But anyway,
I do think this story did address that, like a lot of the people that have already been awarded the REAP funds are going to get those funds.
Right.
But it's unlikely that we're going to be seeing more people getting awarded those funds, which is going to be the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And again, like my thing is like the hypocrisy of it all is really what gets to me. You want to talk about energy crisis and how we need more energy, and we're all in this country about we need to produce more energy. We're and
then we're a country of innovators.
Yeah, and we're a country of innovators. Yet somehow,
let's innovate.
No more investment in clean energy. We're only going to be we need more energy, but we only want this type of energy. We're not going to utilize all of the energy we have in this country for this supposed crisis that is happening.
Right.
That's going to impact a lot of us. So just seems a bit weird.
Hello.
Yeah. Anyways, digressing from this. Paul, what do you got for us?
Oh, I have a fun tale. But first I'm gonna complain. And I think I've earned the right. Okay.
Complain, yeah.
So anyway, you may have heard the phrase "the internet never forgets," right? Has that come across your world?
Yeah.
So anyway, and that's mostly aimed at people that like post very either cringeworthy or just like downright harmful, problematic things, and then like years later, like try to turn the corner or something. Well, I wish I could forget. As just another netizen on Elon Musk's World Wide Web, searching, browsing, reading, and watching, being online these days feels increasingly like an act of self-sabotage. Because yucks, between my doom scrolling habit, which is a big part of my life, and then some of the most abhorrent content that I could ever imagine just blithely scrolling past my eyes, there's a very disturbing chance that some new post I find is going to pull me further down into kind of what I refer to as the dark heart of social media. Because goodness gracious, I almost said a swear, but it is a very dark place on social media
it is,
these
It's
days.
depressing.
You can
mostly
see horrifying things. And this is a complete random aside, I have been seeing horrifying things on the internet for a long time because my family members would think it was really charming to show children horrible instances of violence and photos online at Thanksgiving. But
oh wow, yeah.
So I've spent I've seen things on the internet that I cannot
also
speak
just
of.
like the ability technology, specifically our phones have to just like suck us in and like just like it's so difficult, like even for someone like who kind of detests technology in a way, to detach themselves from like this like the social media algorithms. It's like it's so concerning. I don't know. And it's like these, and we're talking about like me and you who are like full adults who have adult minds, let alone like kids that probably have access to this technology that their brains are still developing.
I allegedly have an adult mind, but
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah.
but hold that thought, because yes, you're onto
Wow.
something.
Yeah, I think we're going off track too. So
Well,
please
no,
get
it's
us
okay.
back on track.
The online spaces where Americans spend huge portions of their waking hours every day hold, I think, incredible power to inform, entertain, and connect us. They do all of that. I found some of my favorite artists of the last couple of years on like social media. But they also can distort or misrepresent the truth, as we all know or should. Our attention spans and our brains are absolutely withering in this climate or what have you. And our digital hosts are all too happy to elicit our rage and our reflexive distrust in service of like our worst, most basest instincts, right? Like politicians, celebrities, influencers, who have you, they all spew rancor and hate as like a business model. And while they're pulling the puppet strings to further their agendas, while the rest of us duke it out online for the consensus approval of insatiable bots, not even real people, and basement dwellers who are afraid of riding the city bus. So, yeah, there you go. All right. So anyway.
Wow, way to sum it up, Paul. Way to sum up the problem with technology.
That's the problem with technology. So I say all of this because that is my preface for what I'm going to tell you next and what I actually ended up writing about. Drawn by a stubborn belief that ordinary people are actually motivated more by kindness than their online personas might suggest, a woman with the chosen name Sea Rider, first set out on, I know, isn't that fierce? Yeah. She first set out on horseback across the continental United States but over 25 months between 2011 and 2013.
That is so cool.
Cool.
This woman's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She wanted to see this country for herself, which very much I took a page out of her book, I think, and I've pinballed all over America myself. But she did it on horseback. She crossed 5,000 miles at a walking pace in that time to test whether face-to-face humanity could restore her faith in the world and in
Forrest Gump.
people. I know.
I mean, I don't know if he set out on that run to restore humanity. But
right. He did something like that.
He did something. He grew a lot of facial hair.
Yeah, that's all very much true. I don't think Sea Rider did.
Yeah, probably not.
but anyway, and it did restore her faith in humanity a little bit for a little while.
Oh God. Okay.
Now it's 2026. Yeah. Right.
And we come to this.
It's only so long, like you get to this year.
Oh God.
Like, oh my God. So when she got off the trail, this is why I said everything that I said earlier. So when she got off the trail and began to readjust to normal life, from that experience, she had met all of these people who were super generous and hospitable. Like she had a horse and she'd be like, can I like camp out in your front yard basically for the night or something? And like she said, 95% of the time people were like, oh my God, of course you can. Like just absolutely forthcoming and like, oh, please let us know if you need anything. Like, do you need to take a shower? Are you hungry? Like, just being good neighbors to this like stranger that was just looking for a place to stay for the night. And then she'd go online and she would find that some of these very same people, some of them, not all of them, who had just done all of this for her were just dreadful. That was her way she put it. Dreadful. Like in their prejudices and their biases and like their meanness and like just like the things that they were expressing online as opposed to like how they would act, like what their true character was. Very interesting to me. So now she's settling up again. This was years ago. She's now doing it again. America is a different place, I would say, in several profound ways compared to when she last did this. And she said this. She said, what I'm really hoping to do is go back out and find out that in real life, these people are still kind and welcoming and generous and curious, right? And then all of that social media thing is just some weird game people are playing. And this time around, she wants to see what, if anything, has changed. And she says, I may eat my words, but what I found last time is that the world is not so scary as we're being told it is. And so that's kind of her mission statement. And she has had a wagon that was crafted in Amish country in Pennsylvania. It's a little covered wagon with solar panels on the top of it. And she has enlisted the help of 2 tiny ponies that are transporting her from Ohio, where she kicked off in Millersburg, and I was there to see her off. And she is westward bound. She has a couple of like early destinations that she knows, like she's going to be here on this, around this time and here next, and then she's going here. And then she's just heading out west, and she has no itinerary and she has no timeline, and she is producing a YouTube series called "Who Is My Neighbor," which is kind of inspired by the biblical tale or allegory or what have you of the Good Samaritan. And she is interviewing folks and talking to them. I actually got to participate in one of these interviews myself, which is very cool. And there's all kinds of, I guess, glimpses into like what her philosophy is and what she is working on and what her goals are. And this is the auction cover of our paper this week. So check it out. And you will find some information about where to find her blog, I think, there, and where she's going to be, where she does all of her writing currently. And so, that is the tale.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, she sounds super cool.
Yeah,
That's,
she was
awesome.
way cool. I guess we can, the YouTube is going to be launching soon officially. And so she's compiling interviews, which I'm sure we will plug one way or another on our website or maybe our social media. Maybe I'll share my interview as well. I don't know if you guys want to get a glimpse into my twisted mind, because she asked 25 questions or so of every guest.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a cool project and definitely worthwhile and very, I think, maybe a valuable reminder of like who we share this place with that we call America, and getting to know our fellow citizens and fellow people that we exist and share this country with in a very divided time. So worthwhile endeavor.
Question.
Yeah.
When she first did this, was she like riding just on a horse?
Yeah.
And then this time around, she's doing like the carriage and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I'm really excited to read this story, Paul.
Yeah.
I'll have to,
It was
I feel like
neat.
it really, for me, what stands out is, I mean, I feel like this is partly kind of what I suspected already, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But like, if people really feel comfortable, once you take away I feel like social media just gives people a sense of anonymity or something.
That's so true. Yeah.
And they feel so much more comfortable being just so mean and hurtful online. But if you were to meet them in person, they don't have the guts to be meaningful and hurtful. Which is like, then it really it begs the question. Yeah, or then it really begs the question, who are you really, though?
Yeah.
Because if you feel comfortable being this way towards me when you're online, but not this way when you meet me in person, I don't trust either version of you.
For real.
You know?
Yeah.
Crazy. I don't know. Social media is wild.
It is
We could
wild.
literally talk about it for.
Yeah.
We could have a podcast episode talking about this. Anyways,
Yeah.
go read Paul's story. Guys, so this week, I'm gonna end this with a story that I wrote in our special section this week.
Right.
Our second lawn and garden issue, because it's coming up, guys.
Yeah, it is.
And it's about how to make Eastern red bud jam. And you might be wondering, right?
Yeah.
What is that?
Sounds yummy.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Eastern redbud tree is actually a native tree. It is known as the harbinger of spring because it's one of the first trees to bloom really in this region. And it produces these beautiful, pretty pink flowers in spring. And recently I found out that these flowers are actually edible. And people have been using them as food and medicine for centuries.
Oh, wow.
This includes the Native Americans who boiled the bark to make tea to treat whooping cough. The flowers are also edible and can be eaten raw, fried, made into syrup, or, as I made, jam. And I, myself, being a curious person, decided to try this out for myself as we have an Eastern redbud tree in the front of my yard. And, I just needed to know the taste of it, to be honest. Once I knew that I could do this, I was like, okay, well, now I need to know.
Yeah.
So I did. And man, was I surprised. I read a lot of people online have said that, initially, because the process is you could basically collect the flowers, you steep the flowers for 24 hours in hot water to kind of get the juices out.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of people saying that when you open it up from steeping, it's going to smell like green beans.
Oh.
And it did
Okay.
really smell like green beans.
Yeah.
So I was a little concerned at first. I was making green bean jam, and I was like, this is going to be gross. But once I actually put in the sugar and the pectin and made the jam, oh my God.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
So good.
cool.
First of all, it was this beautiful pink color.
Yeah.
And it tasted like strawberries.
Wow.
Like it was crazy. And I've had many people in my life try it already. So anyways, guys, if just make use of your Eastern redbud tree if it still has the pink blooms. This may come out a little late because I know at least my tree I can't make any more. The flowers are gone now. It's
You're gonna save the
past
recipe
that
for next
time.
season, then I guess.
But yeah, save the recipe for next season.
Yeah.
Or if you do still have time, because I have different past Eastern redbud trees that are
Oh,
still
yeah.
in bloom. So
Yeah.
if you are one of those lucky individuals, make it before it's too late.
Yeah.
because
You will
yeah,
regret
it was
if you
worth
don't.
it. Yeah, it was good.
Nice.
Yeah. And this is part of, I'm going to say right now, my spring jam series, guys.
Oh,
So,
yay. I
who
like
knew?
that.
Yeah. Spring does have some jams. It's not just summer with all the berries.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
You heard it here.
Yeah. So,
Well,
all right, guys. Well, that is our top stories for the paper this week.
indeed. And to read more, you know what to do. You're going to go to, I could fall asleep right now. You're going to go to farmanddairy.com, the website where we live. And you're also going to go find your local newsstand to get a physical copy of the paper, because you should also be supporting it that way. And you're going to, you should probably get a subscription. Maybe you've been thinking about it for a little while.
Maybe it's in your mailbox.
Now's the time. So go ahead and do that. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Using
We will
my
see
mind
you.
powers to convince you to get a
Yeah.
subscription. So
Using the eyes.
yeah, and it's all in the eyes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.